Good afternoon. Welcome to track 10. Track 10. Security awareness is unalive. Long live human risk management. Please help welcoming to the stage security awareness advocate from KnowBe4, Mr. James McQuiggan.
So I'm curious, how many people drove here today? Pretty well almost all of us, all right. How many people drove on a highway? How many people drove faster than the speed limit? Really? There's always one person that says, nope, I drove the speed limit. You're in the passenger seat, okay. So I have a picture here, yes, AI generated, because love what we can create nowadays. Car going down the road, 70 miles an hour. Probably, we're just going to imagine the car's doing 80. We know the speed limit's 70 miles an hour, but we're doing 80. Why are we doing 80? Any guesses? Any thoughts? Get here faster? Flow of traffic? Didn't hurt the last time I did it. I like that one. That one's good. Hopefully, we won't get pulled over. Why? Because we know the speed limit is 70, but we're doing 80. We're aware, maybe we just don't care. And that is probably what a lot of our users think or runs through their mind when it comes to security awareness, when it comes to those phishing assessments, the fact that they might have to use a password manager. They're aware, but they just don't want to care about it. It's like, I've got other things I've got to worry about and be productive. And essentially, that's what we run into when it comes to the security awareness training programs that are out there. So I'm just going to get through this, and I'm guilty of it, because at KnowBe4, we have lots of training that I get to go through every year. Maybe some of you too, like topics on insider trading, embargo information, travel and expenses. It's all things, yeah, okay, let me get through this so I can get back to work. And I think that's a lot of the things that we deal with when it comes to our users overall. And essentially, with our users and with people inside of organizations, we're talking about the humans. And when we have our users, our humans, we're talking about a human firewall. Now, I have a very good friend of mine who's in this industry, and he hates this term human firewall. Because firewalls are technology, they can be exploited, you can configure it wrong, and I'm like, yeah, the same thing applies with the human firewall. They can be exploited, you can socially engineer them. You might be configuring them wrong. But essentially what we're looking at doing when it comes to security awareness, looking at human risk management, is strengthening them, and then looking at the intersection of awareness, intention, and behaviors. Because when it all comes down to it, we're looking at trying to change behaviors. Because if it's just awareness and making them aware and so they know about it, they're not going to care. Yeah, I know the speed limit's 80 miles an hour, but I'm going to be doing the speed limit's 70, but I'm going to be doing 80. Yeah, I know I got to watch out for the links and submit the phishing emails when they come in and that kind of thing, but I'm just deleting them and moving on overall. And so what we're looking at doing by strengthening this human firewall is essentially going through and creating a culture of more security-minded folks where they keep security top of mind, and it's something that becomes part of their behaviors and becomes part of their habits. And so that's what we're going to be looking at here today. So I got a great introduction. One of the things we've just changed at KnowBe4 is our titles. They changed our title. We're no longer security awareness advocates. We're called CISO advisors. Great. But we're still advising everybody else anyway, because essentially my role is going out and talking with people with regards to cybersecurity, kind of like a foghorn, alerting people of current trends, things that are going on, and so forth. One of the best roles and responsibilities that I've ever had Fantastic job. I'm also the host of a podcast. It's called Simply Secured. It's a part of the Simply Cyber Media Group where I'm interviewing people from just starting out in cyber, that they've been doing it for 20 years. We talk about careers and stuff like that. And then I'm an honorary Texan, or at least that's what it says on my coffee mug that I got 20 years ago when I lived here for about 3 years up in Dallas. My oldest daughter was born in Plano. So, and now I got a really cool belt buckle from the conference today, so now I can go home. But I do have a J belt buckle that I bought when I was here. I have boots that don't fit anymore because my feet got wider. But yeah, I just need to get the hat next. So we'll see how it goes. All right. Any KnowBe4 customers in the room? Just real quick. Oh, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you. Appreciate y'all being happy campers. If you want, come see me afterward. I've got some fun stickers. It says don't click on shit. So with KnowBe4, for me, one of the things is all about the issue of empowering our users to make those smarter security decisions. You know, whether through training, modules, behavior change, human risk management, technology that's out there as well. So we're all working towards essentially getting our users to make those smarter security decisions. Now, before we go any further, I like to keep my presentations somewhat engaging. So as I'm going through my presentation today, you may feel the urge to do something that I'm going to teach you right now. And essentially what it is this. And since we're all pretty well sitting at desks, which is great, is this sound. I'll do it one more time. I'll leave it there. You might get a feeling of when to do it, and if you do, go ahead. Kind of keeps the engagement of us going here. So essentially, my day job, what I do with KnowBe4, is to go around and talk with people about the importance of securing their dried grapes. Yeah, it's raising security awareness. There you go. That's when you do it. All right. They don't get any better than this. I have a sense of humor, I've been told, but, you know, it's not any good. So, and of course, now I'm getting tons of text messages, so we're just going to put the phone into do not disturb mode, and there we go. All right. So, let's talk about phishing and training and security awareness. So we're all doing phishing assessments. We're doing security awareness training within our organizations, which is great. Essentially, though, and I love this quote from Bruce Schneier, the fact that, you know, amateurs hack systems, professionals hack people. Why hack the technology when it's a lot easier to hack the people? Because with people, we can exploit them. We can use a variety of different techniques overall to essentially work our way to get into a system. Nowadays, it's almost easier just to get hired by a company if you want to gain access inside the company. But a lot of the time, you know, we're looking at cyber criminals, scammers, nation states, targeting the users, because for me, when it comes to these attacks, we're leveraging emails. They're using emails to essentially bypass your security stack, your firewalls, secure email gateways, the email server, and eventually land into the inbox. Now, technology is going to go through and stop a lot of those. And we all know that, you know, hundreds of thousands of emails come into our email servers every day. The technology, still you have 20% of those emails are bypassing, those phishing emails are bypassing our technology and land into our user's box. One of the things that always is of interest to me is when I hear people say that security awareness training is not 100% effective. Well, neither is the technology, especially when you've got emails getting through. However, if you pair the technology with the human and educate them in the security awareness training, that significantly helps you reduce that type of attack that's coming in overall. And so for me, when it comes to phishing, that favorite word of phishing. For me, anybody that has an email inbox inside your organization has a key to the front door. And for all of us that have homes and we have keys to the front door and we might have kids who are teenagers and we give them a key, we have to educate them, make sure they're aware not to lose the key, don't show it off, keep it safe. Same thing with phishing with our email. We need to make sure that our users are doing the right thing to protect our inboxes. We're not clicking on things we shouldn't be or allowing other people to come in. Because when you click on the link, effectively you're opening up the front door and letting the cyber criminals walk in. And for me, when it came to my girls, it was like, okay, don't lose the key, keep it safe, and so forth, because we don't want anybody just being able to walk right in. And even if you think about the physical security of your offices, if you see somebody walking around that's not supposed to be there, you empower your users to be able to go up to them and go, hi, can I help you? Is there somebody you're looking for? Can I escort you to our security desk? Get you signed in. We want to have that same empowerment when it comes to those phishing emails as well. It cracks me up. I love how we have all the different ishing terms that are out there. Phishing, vishing, smishing. I've even started to hear that, people are getting socially engineered on Discord. So is that called dishing? I mean, WhatsApp, if you get them on WhatsApp, are we calling that wishing? Yeah. And of course, everybody loves quishing, right? No, we get away from that. So a phishing example. Here we have a Zoom meeting. It was a Wednesday afternoon, just before lunch. It was 11:59. I'm connected in a Zoom call waiting on a customer. And on my phone, as I have it sitting in front of me, it popped up with an email notification from my KnowBe4 email that said, you have somebody waiting in a Zoom call. I'm like, but I'm already in the Zoom call. And then I'm flashing back thinking the original emails was, am I going to use my Zoom connection? Are we going to use theirs? And I'm thinking, oh, shoot, did they send me one and I didn't see it? Now I'm in the wrong one. So I go into the inbox, and there's the email, and it says, click the link to join the meeting. OK, let's get into that meeting. Click on the link. And up pops a KnowBe4 login box. And I'm like, I'm already logged in. Why is... So I go back over to the email where the link is, and I hover over it, and sure enough, it was one of our assessment links. Son of a... Go back into the original meeting, and there's the customer waiting. Great. Have our meeting. We get done with the meeting, and I go back, and there it is, the email from our IT team. Congratulations, you failed the level 1 assessment. Here's your refresher training, and here's your quiz. Can't believe they got me. Can't believe the IT team, they got me. But they got me because I was in a Zoom call waiting on a customer, and I was freaking out because I didn't want to miss the call. So at that point, I said, all right, I'll do my training. I'll get through this. But the lesson that came out of that for me changed the way that I now look at email. But for your users, when they click on one of those links, who in here has fallen victim to a phishing assessment? And be honest. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Q? No? Really? You're the ones that sends out? So that phishing story happened within the first 6 months of being at KnowBe4. The first 3 days I was at KnowBe4, they sent me a link saying somebody had logged into my account out in Bangalore. And I'm like, and I was about ready to click on it, but I'm sitting in the office with one of my colleagues, and I go, I can't believe it. I've been here 3 days, and my email address is, oh, hang on a second. And then I took that moment and checked the link, and sure enough. But your users, something to consider, and this is what I went through, and you've probably done it too, but when you first click on that link, there's shock. What the heck is going on? I can't believe this is happening. And a bit of frazzlement. There's the denial. No, I clicked on the link. I closed out the login box. They couldn't have got in. It was on preview mode, whatever it may be. Then there's anger. And there's anger for a lot of reasons. They got me, the IT team. You're angry at yourself. I'm smarter than this. I know. I talk about this every single day. My colleague, Anna Collard, who's based out of South Africa, built her own company called Popcorn before KnowBe4 bought it a number of years ago. She was in an Uber going to the airport and got one of our phishing assessments that was of an Uber message. And she thought it was related because it was a credit card denial. And she clicked on it. And she had to go through the training. And the training she had to go through was her popcorn training. She goes, I designed this, and I had to take it. But she took it. And then eventually you get to acceptance, and you take your lessons learned. Now, these are very much like the stages of grief. And if you've unfortunately had to go through it, but in grief, there's bargaining. There is no bargaining with the IT team when it comes to this, so I didn't include it. That's why it's not there. So your users and yourself, we go through all these emotions post clicking on a link. And as I said, congrats, IT team, you got me. And one of the things that came out of the acceptance for that was, it's not a gotcha moment. They're not the police trying to catch you. It's a teaching moment. It's an opportunity where you and your users have the opportunity to learn from it. For me, and probably yourselves, if you're administrating these assessments, I'd rather have you click on one of mine than one of the people from the outside, because then that opens up a big can of worms and we're not ready to deal with it. So the question now becomes, why is it people are clicking on these links? Anybody seen the movie Thelma? Not Thelma and Louise, Thelma. No? Shaking heads? Okay. I added this slide in this morning because in the last week, I've had two different people in two different career aspects tell me I need to watch this movie. So I watched it on the weekend. And funny enough, I'm sitting with my wife and we're watching it. I said, look, I want to watch this movie. This is on Disney Plus, by the way. It's about a 93-year-old grandmother who gets grandma scammed over the phone because her grandson calls and says he's been in a car accident, his nose got broken, that's why he doesn't sound right. And I'm watching this knowing what I'm expecting. My lovely wife, married 26 years, sits to me and goes, why the hell is she giving away the money? Doesn't she know that it's not real? I'm like, chill, it's a story. But essentially, she was right. You know, we recognize it because we're aware and we're educated, but grandma, not so much. I put this up here because the movie is kind of cheesy. It's funny. It's kind of got a dark humor because Thelma, 93-year-old grandma who can't drive, steals one of these little motor scooters and drives across town to the address where she sent the money. It's cheesy, it's corny, but it kind of gets the point across. But it also gives you kind of a perspective from where those people are, the life experience folks are coming from as well. So there's emotional lures that we fall for. We're distracted, or maybe because we're doing multitasking overall. And then one of the things we do at KnowBe4 is we do a survey when you've fallen victim to it. And we can see that busy or multitasking, expecting a similar email, or none of the above. A lot of the time people are distracted, or they're doing something else, or they're not in front of their computer, they're on their phone, they're not in an environment where they can check. And so that's usually what ends up causing them to forget or have a lapse in judgment overall. And so for me, there's now a zero trust mindset when it comes to my email. And I verify everything. I usually pause, I try to pause before I react. And it's okay to be politely paranoid. Anybody have one of those video ring doorbells at home? Or video doorbells, yeah. I don't know about you, but when the doorbell rings now, if I'm not expecting Amazon or the pizza guy or somebody coming over, I'm opening up that app and I'm looking to see who's at the door. That's what we want to do with our email. If we're not expecting that email in our inbox, we go, let's take a little dive. Because yeah, the time it might take to go through that might be a couple more seconds, or looking to verify, or it's from my boss who says it's my boss, and I reach out to her and I go, hey, I know the answer to this, but you didn't send this email on my performance report, did you? Nope, thank you. And then I report it, and so forth. But it's okay to be politely paranoid, take those extra steps, especially with what's going on with phishing attacks, with how they're trying to exploit everybody overall. Now, doing the awareness, doing that, giving them the training once a year, assessing them quarterly, maybe monthly. The problem, though, becomes the fact that just because we give it doesn't mean they're going to have those secure behaviors. We have to work towards improving those behaviors overall. And so that's what brings us into talking about human risk management, by improving those behaviors and changing them, and how we do that. Now, coming from Florida, I don't know if you folks know what happens when you cross an alligator with a computer. You get a megabyte. There we go. All right, we're getting there. Cool, yeah. All right. like I said, they don't get better. All right, let's talk about human risk management overall and essentially the concept of it. So I'll baseline everybody and kind of give a definition. This is one that we've kind of developed. Me and the other advisors, we've come up with one. There isn't an industry standard, but a lot of people all kind of dance around the same thing with it. And essentially, as we look at human risk management, we treat people as empowered partners. The amount of times I still hear CIOs, CTOs, CISOs that go, yeah, humans are the weakest link. And I love it when they're in a leadership position, because I turn to them and go, well, what are you doing to make them not the weakest link? Oh, well, we got security awareness training programs that are And I'm like, then what are we doing to improve that? How do we make them smarter? And so we can use technology, but we're looking at improving behaviors and having that proactive risk management overall for shared ownership. And I know that there are people out in organizations that go, I'm not the security team. Why do I have to worry about it? Because you have an inbox. And yes, the technology is there, but they're still to get through, because those cyber criminals, the nation states, they're really crafty with the emails. Years ago, we always said, check for spelling, check for grammar, telltale sign of a phishing email. That's out the window now because of large language models. We can write in Estonian, Portuguese, Chinese, English, and it's perfect. They're now having to ask to put in some spelling mistakes so it doesn't look so perfect overall. So why do we need then a human risk management program? We've talked about it. I got an awareness program. We're doing training. We're assessing them. We've got a low fish-prone percentage, or we've got people reporting. But when we look at it, we know that humans are the primary factor, plain and simple. And I like throwing this one up. Traditional security awareness training is inefficient. If you're doing training, security awareness training once a year, that's not enough. And I speak from experience because of the fact that I get those embargo and the finance and travel and expense trainings coming in every year. A lot of the time I look at it and go, this is common sense. Yeah, okay, next, finish. Give me the quiz, done. Now I don't have to worry about it till next year. Until it comes back around, I'm like, I took this last year, but okay. But doing it once a year, we know, is not going to be enough. The risk reduction is measurable. We have a way that we can have quantifiable risk measurements when it comes to our users with regards to how many, who's clicking on links, who's reporting it, are they using password managers, what is that looking, and for the know before folks, you know about the risk score and so forth. So we have a way to be able to go through and measure the risk. Insider risk and negligence. We're already dealing with phishing assessments, real ones coming in. We're dealing with accidentally hiring North Koreans. I don't know who's done that. But you deal with that insider risk already with malicious intent, people sharing passwords, whatever it may be overall. Regulatory and governance pressure. In the event that you are breached, in the event that you become breached, you've got to report that. You may have compliance with regards to the plethora of different regulations that are out there that you have to, depending on what industry you're in. And security culture actually becomes now a strategic asset. It's about the business. I think heard a couple times today in some of the sessions, and especially from other CISOs, Jason was talking about in the recording that when it comes to patching, we hear about vulnerabilities and you got to patch it. It's not a security problem, it's a business problem within IT. IT are the ones that actually goes through and patch, right? So we're just advising and saying, hey, look, here are the risks. We need to make sure we're patching. We're waiting on the IT team. Not blaming, just saying. But if we have security culture as an asset within the organization, it's part of the business, then that makes it a lot easier overall. And then the cost of inaction is high. We've seen with regards to the attacks that go on, if they had spent 10% of the ransomware money that they paid out, that would have been enough to fund all the whole program. But not doing anything has a higher impact overall. So as we look at HRM, we look at human risk management, and I'm not talking about the product that KnowBe4 has. I'm talking about the concept of human risk management. We can kind of break it down into a neat model. Click, there we go. Defend. And the acronym here is DEEP, D-E-E-P. And the D is defend, stopping attacks before they get to the people. That's where technology comes in. We're leveraging technology, secure email gateways, whatever it may be, to prevent those from getting in. Educate. We're already doing that. We already have the first two. We're teaching threat recognition. We're teaching people how to recognize the phishing emails that might come in. We're teaching them about deep fakes that are happening, other social engineering attacks, and so forth. So now as we get into looking at improving those behaviors, we're empowering. We want to empower our users to make those smarter security decisions. Empower our users, our family, our friends. This needs to go beyond just our users that we have in our organization. Have that positive security culture overall. And then finally, limiting the fallout from mistakes. We're human. We make mistakes all the time. But being able to have other protections in place, either like anonymous reporting, or if passwords get leaked, then we have a quick way to be able to go through and reset everybody's password overall. So let me give some fun examples. Let's talk about social engineering with regards to the DEEP model. So defend. We have controls that block phishing attempts, right? Secure email gateways, firewalls. We're educating people on phishing. But we want to empower the users not to delete that phishing email when it comes in, but to report it. Because we can have then further tools to be either rip it out of everybody else's mailbox, contain it, flip it, maybe then use that as an example of a current event or a current phishing email and send it back out to everybody. So the protect aspect then educates folks even that much further. If we then look at accidental insiders, so people that have accidentally clicked on a phishing email, we have guardrails, preventing common errors. So with regards to if we have, like I said, the password reset that happens out there, then we can at least go through and force everybody to go through and do the password reset, or utilizing threat intelligence helps us get there as well. So in this case, educating on handling sensitive data. So let's say, I'm curious, how many people are using large language models at work or letting their users use large access ChatGPT and all them? Okay, so let's back it up and not talk about passwords. We talk about one of your users accidentally uploads some proprietary code into ChatGPT to figure out what the latest thing is. I see somebody shaking their head going, yep, been there, done that. And we know Samsung did it and Amazon's done it as well. So now we have to, the education there is handling of sensitive data. Don't upload sensitive data to to a large language model. Make sure we classify data properly. We have data loss prevention, things in place. Maybe we have simplified interfaces with regards to trying to share data, whether it might be a large language model or sharing to another customer or a vendor or whoever, but we have some way that we can simplify and have it easy for them to be able to transfer data. And then there's a safety net. One of the things that we did at KnowBe4, sadly it's not a service we provide, but it's what Stu Showerman, our CEO, wanted. All of our users, he was in love with AI, still is. The whole concept of generative AI, all the technology, everything changing all the time. He wanted to use it at KnowBe4. So one of the things that our team set up is an AI portal. You can only access it if you're VPN'd into the network, can't access it outside. But what it does is it gives us access to ChatGPT, Gemini, and a variety of other large language models. We can then use those, because it's got an API capability to communicate to the actual large language model through our own proxy. We have our own portal. So we go in and put in the requests that we want to do, whatever it is, write a press release for the release of Defend, whatever it may be. The portal then analyzes the data, whatever it is we're doing, and then if it's not providing anything sensitive, it allows the call to go through out to that large language model. It's like the internet proxy from 25 years ago or 30 years ago when everyone was getting online at work and people were going to ESPN and Etsy and all the other places. This is the same thing, data loss prevention overall. Convenience bypasses. Let's say you want to plug in a flash drive into your system. The defend aspect is you're going to have technology to be able to make those paths a lot easier. You need to transfer data off your laptop to somebody else. Maybe there's a way that we have some technology that you give them a link, I know, but you give them a link and they can go download the data. Educating, again, users on shortcuts. It could be something like micro-learning. If they're trying to plug in a flash drive, that it pops up going, hey, here are the risks by using this flash drive, outside of the fact that you're blocking USB storage devices being connected. Secure alternatives to shortcuts. We empower them work, again, maybe it's a Google Drive link or some other link that we give them overall to do that. And then detection of policy, the protect aspect, looking at letting them know, again, through that micro-learning with regards to that policy violation. We may have malicious insiders where they're bypassing least privilege controls, they're implementing rootkits or launching other, maybe putting in backdoors, or they're looking to steal the sales database, whatever it may be. But then it comes down to having insider threat awareness training for your users, have a positive culture for reporting, see something, say something, make it anonymous so that way they don't feel they have to be reporting it. And then monitoring and responding to those suspicious actions. So you have a team of people that can go through and do that. So there's kind of all of it in one chart. I broke it, my colleague Javad put this together, and I said, oh, this is great, but I'm not putting this on a screen because it's too much of an eye chart to read. But I know people will pull out their phones and take pictures of it. So otherwise, I can send you the deck. So let's talk about 7 principles to implementing a successful HRM program overall. So, want to engage the leadership, cross-department calibration, working with multiple departments, not only your executives, but also maybe communications, marketing, so forth. Looking at wanting to promote continuous improvement, discuss it in their language, which we're familiar with, but when it comes to talking with leadership, we want to talk in their language, profit, loss, reputation, brand, so forth. ROI, by implementing the program, it's going to reduce the risk even more overall. Having a culture of transparency and accountability. Extreme ownership is one of the big things that we do at KnowBe4. And so having that within your human risk management program with your users, setting expectations is always a big thing. Not only when it comes to the training, that doing it monthly or quarterly, but going through, letting them know that, hey, we're going to have this training, it's going to be broken up, it's not going to be all at once. Again, looking to keep that security top of mind. Encourage reporting, rewarding positive behavior. This is always fun, and I always love rewarding the positive behavior because, I don't know, maybe it's the dopamine hit in the brain of seeing somebody smile when you do something for them. So carrots are better than sticks, and I know you've probably heard that. It might be a top 10 fish spotters. We have the golden fish that we have at KnowBe4 that we use. Maybe food and coffee, free food and coffee for folks overall. Free swag when they finish their training programs. Could be compensation performance reviews. But also going around and asking your users, what do you remember from the security training? What is it that you're remembering? It might be one aspect of it, and if they're having it throughout the year, then it kind of solidifies and strengthens overall. So when we start this, we want to do a risk assessment. If we have our security awareness training program, but now looking to take that next step, the human risk management, risk is right there. And so we're looking to do some type of risk assessment. Look at who are our more users that are more susceptible. Is that an age thing? Is that a regional thing? Is it a department thing? Lack of knowledge. But going through and looking to see where those key risks are overall. Prioritizing the efforts of what we're going to focus on for each of them. And of course, we're all aligning this with business goals anyway, because that's what helps make it even more successful is whatever, if we're a manufacturing organization, we're making sure we're protecting our SCADA equipment, healthcare, protecting patient data, and so forth. And so we look at, within that risk identification, looking at AI-driven behavioral analysis, leveraging machine learning, looking at how our users operate. Most of the time they were logging in from 8:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon or 5 o'clock. When they start logging in at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night and they're in a different country, it's able to flag and recognize that that's outside of their normal behavior. Doing adaptive assessments. If you've got users that are really savvy, that you hit them with a harder or more stickier phishing assessment or other type of assessments going through because they're already knowledgeable, let's beef it up a little bit. Comprehensive risk monitoring, looking at essentially, monitoring all of our users, seeing which ones are those risky ones, and going through and doing it on a regular basis, not just one time. Doing a security posture assessment. And there are surveys that you can do where you look at the whole security culture for your users. It does take 10 or 15 minutes to go through and do it, but going through and having that assessment, understanding where they're coming from, and it's not just real easy questions. They are designed in there where they're asking the same question different times, different ways, to make sure you're still getting the same response, but getting a good, strong idea of where your security posture is overall. And then leveraging in threat intelligence, working with maybe your security team, what are the latest threats that are out there, bringing those in there, either whether it's relating to different types of phishing emails or different emails that are coming in, but looking to see what is out there and then working to bring that inside the organization. You want to personalize the experience. Again, getting back to those different risk levels, those behavioral insights, and having engaging content. Having a provider that gives you engaging content goes a long way already, but whether that's computer-based training, it's videos, it's newsletters, whatever it may be. It could be something inside your organization now that it's tomorrow, right? Yeah, October 1st, tomorrow, Cybersecurity Awareness Month. I know a lot of folks will be having those different type of day events or things going on for your users, but having like a table where they can come and, chat with the security team with regards to, current events and things that are going on. But personalizing that experience goes a long way. Making that personalized experience, making it relatable, making it accessible to them. Avoid the jargon. We already have to avoid the jargon when it comes to our executives, but also when it comes to our users. One of my favorite tools is called the de-jargonizer. It actually, you put in whatever it is you're writing, and it will tell you what kind of reading level it's at, and then if there are words that might be overcomplicated. Now, I can't take credit for sharing this with you. It comes from my good friend Carrie Tomlinson, who did this as a presentation at RSA a couple years ago, and she demonstrated the de-jargonizer, but it's great for being able to simplify the terms. So when you're explaining it to your users, it's protecting the data. We're protecting the data overall. We're protecting the organization. You have a key to the front door, like I explained earlier. Might be the phishing alert buttons. We need you to alert and let us know when you find a phishing email. And of course, games, songs, video clips, musical numbers, whatever it takes to kind of help drive the point home. Videos like the Inside Man series that we haven't known before. Make it fun. We know a lot of people look at cybersecurity and go, bleh. But if we can work to make it fun and interesting for them, like a video series gets the investment from them. Leveraging AI. Again, behavioral analytics, phishing detection. Having that streamlined process. With machine learning, with the creating of phishing emails is a lot easier now with using a large language model overall, goes a long way. Leveraging AI in your programs. So, hang on a second, did I? Nope, okay. Automated training. We know that we can have agents assign training depending on the failure type that they had, and then that can get incorporating the risk scores. Doing the phishing realistic emails, we can leverage NIST framework that's out there as well. And then generating quizzes. I know it's one of the capabilities we have, but you can, as a university professor, it's one of the things that I use large language models for. I upload the PDF of the chapter, and I get it to generate 25-question quiz, multiple choice, and then I go through and I review to check to make sure they're not hallucinating in it. But it makes it a lot easier to leverage a large language model to make quizzes for yourselves. Of course, with anything we do, we got to measure, monitor, and improve it. So we're tracking through those key progress indicators. Doing regular testing, not once a month or once every couple of months, weekly. Like I said, know before, twice a week, if not 3 times. And more importantly, get feedback. Hear from your users, hear from the folks that are taking these assessments. So, was it really hard? What was it that you were doing? Have those quizzes as well. Incorporating the human elements. Have coaching, have mentoring, have a champions program, depending on the size of your organization. Champions programs go a long way. Maybe it's something where you sit down and chat with those high-risk users overall and work with them to help them out understand where they were coming from, what was it going on that they ended up clicking on it. And then maybe on your top performing users, bring them in for ideas or other aspects, because they're going to see from their business other ideas that they might have to be able to help. Plus, it gets them engaged and more involved with it. Frequency. I have a gentleman holding a barbell to kind of signify the fact that you can't go to the gym one day out of the year and expect to be all muscular, buffed, and toned. No, we got to work at it. We got to go to the gym 3, 4, 5, 6 days of the week. Leg day, back day, cardio, whatever it may be. Same thing with security awareness. We can't just do it once a year. Once a month, some element of education for your users. And then bringing it home, work and life. Like I said before, this isn't just about users, but family, friends. That goes a long way as well. So, implementing the practices overall, engaging the leadership, have an adoptive culture of transparency and accountability, go through and do the risk assessment, personalize it for your users, your departments, your groups, leverage the capabilities that you can do with AI, monitor it and review it and improve, and then, of course, always incorporating the human element, their aspects, their buy-in, and feedback overall. Now, with all the different book clubs that are out there, there's one social media platform that's now banning book clubs. Yeah, it's Reddit. Reddit. Book club. All right, haven't had enough coffee. Anybody work at Microsoft? Anybody know anybody that works at Microsoft? Got a couple? Cool. You know why they're always so anxious? Because they're on edge. All right, let's go. All right, I got a couple slides to wrap up, but I wanted to see if anybody had any questions before we finish up. Because if not, you can find me outside. I'll be hanging outside afterward. Okay, no questions. All right. More dad jokes? Is that what I heard? Okay. So some final thoughts. What's next? Essentially, want to go through and detect our security behaviors. Start going through that process. Have your policies. Make sure they're up to date. You're regularly updating those. Educating the users. Leveraging AI. Having that, increasing your security culture with your organization overall. We got to adapt. HRM essentially is the evolution of security awareness. It's the next level. It's behaviors and culture. And then we want to grow that culture. And to grow it, we got to cultivate it. We got to work at it. We can't just drop it in the ground and hope it grows, like my dead garden that I have at home. But anyway, we're at a crossroads where we've got our old habits and we want to change or we want to improve. New Year's Eve every year is where we always say, I'm going to improve, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to exercise more, I'm not going to drink as much. And by January 16th, you're on the couch eating chicken wings, drinking beer, watching the football. That's usually the drop-dead date where our habits, we have to continually work at it. We got to get our users to work at it towards getting them to the goal that we have. Education, preparation, the healthy security habits, those are the best defense that we can have. Pairing it with the technology and everything else. It's all about layers. Now, I know I dropped some bad dad jokes in here on you today, but does anybody know why DNS jokes are so hard? Because it takes people 24 hours to get it. If you know DNS, you know what I'm talking about. And finally, yes, I have a way of keeping track of all my dad jokes. They're in my database. I have one last favor to ask of all of you. First of all, thank you all very much for your attention coming out here and watching this. You had a book signing to go to. You had an AI attack session to go to, so appreciate you all coming here. I have a gift. If you scan the QR code, it's an opportunity for you to provide me feedback. It's very quick. It's all emojis. You kind of pick how you like the certain aspects of the presentation. It's a way for me to track where I need to work, where I need to improve on. But if you scan the QR code, go through it, you'll get an email with the CISO's Playbook to Human Risk Management. It's a white paper that we haven't known before, but I have that for all of you. So with that, with a minute to go, I want to, again, thank you all, and hope you have a good day. Thank you.